Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. That means once again AEW Dynamite. As you know, this is their go home show before Full Gear. We're kind of excited what's gonna take place. Okay, we got the AEW World Title on the line. But what will MJF will respond to what happened a week ago with the Acclaim and all this other stuff? We even have, of course, a very interesting tag match involving, of course, Hook and Orange Cassidy versus the Blackpool Combat Club, and many other things taking place. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing the latest GLEAT event, G Pro Wrestling version 64, more with the Burn Your Heart series. This one features the main event, the G-Rex Championship. T-Hawks defends his belt against Jan's member, of course, Masato Camino. So we'll see where that takes us from there. And of course, we cap it up with some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. Like what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that either been signed or departing from whatever promotion they're from. Also, we have some injured wrestlers, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates in case if I'm unable to put it on this episode, and various other cool things. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us on the subscribe button and you'll be getting a lot of daily reviews from us and of course and other cool stuff. But if you like this episode, please give us a like or a nice comment down below. So, let's begin with the Japanese promotion GLEAT with their latest show, G Pro Wrestling version 64, with more of the Burn Your Heart series. It started out with the contract signing for the main event, the G-Rex title. Now, T-Hawk, who is the current champion, faces against Masato Camino from the Yans family. This was something that's already that began a while back during a lumberjack match between both Strong Hearts and I forgot who else. But it became kind of interesting how that turns out. But contract was signed. Masato Yoshino, who you may know him from Dragon Gate, was mediating the contract signing. But no hassle. Nobody gave their words what they had to say. We just started with the show with a very interesting tag match. Our first match, of course, we have members of the Yans family. Fire Katsumi versus Takanori Ito. They take on Yuya Suzumu and Soma Watanabe. Now, Fire Katsumi, he is the newest member of the Yans family. Basically, he was kidnapped by them and then he embraced their ways and all this other stuff. But I wasn't too sure how this was going to roll, but I do know that Soma Watanabe and Yuya Suzumu have been a very well-established tag team for some time. But it was Watanabe with the win with the 450 splash, and it was over right from there on to Fire Katsumi. Next up, we have a very interesting singles match. We have Ryuichi Kawakami, the leader of Bulk Orchestra, takes on the youngest member of the Black Generation International, Keishi Sato. Now, of course, I knew this was going to turn into a war because as Saito, he may have been in the ring, but his compadres, the members of the Black Generation International, were going to be there ringside helping him out. But luckily for Kawakami, he has his compadres, the Bulk Orchestra members, by his side. But in the end of this match, of course, it was Kawakami with a big lariat onto Sato to pick up the win. But of course, the Black Generation did not like that. They come out to give him a beating. But luckily, the Bulk Orchestra showed up. Now, these two factions have been fighting over who is the number one faction in GLEAT. Well, it's still, to me, I feel like Black Bulk Orchestra has been one of the most top factions in the promotion, but we'll see where they go. Next up, we got a very interesting match. We have JD Lee taking on El Lindaman. Nothing too big or small on this one, but nevertheless, JD Lee, I don't know much about him, but he seems like a capable wrestler. But El Lindaman, with the much experience, picked up the win when he applied a German suplex. So that was no big for me on that one. Now, as I mentioned before, the war between Bulk Orchestra and Black Generation still rages on. We do have the members of Bulk Orchestra, Czech Shimatani, Kazuma Sakamoto, and Quiet Storm. They take on the Black Generation International members, BGI, Kotaro Suzuki, Hartley Jackson, and Kaito Ishida. You know these two teams are fighting for who is, in fact, the number one unit in GLEAT, and I thought that says it all, but however, it was Jackson who put Czech Shimatani in a pile driver. It was over right from there. So, yes, that turned out pretty well. Now, our next match, we have a bit of the rookies versus the veterans. In the rookie sides, we have Junji, Yu Isuka, Jun Tonsho, Tetsuya Izushi, and Ise Onisuka. So yeah, these are different guys. Majority of these guys are from independent members in the GLEAT roster. They take on, of course, Kaz Hayashi, Minoru Tanaka, Seiki Ikemoto, Tomoaki Hamna, and of course the man, the myth, the legend, Shima. So you probably would seem that this is going to be an interesting generational match. But however, I wasn't too sure how this was going to go. But in fact, it was um, uh, of course, Hayashi with the pinfall on two, Tonsho to pick up the win. So I have to say it was a pretty good win for the veteran wrestlers. So I'm sure that the rookies would definitely get a clear view of what's going to happen next. Now, our next match, which is our main event, is the G-Rex title. We have T-Hawk, the current champion, take on Masato Kamino. Man, this match went pretty well, but there were moments in this match that it seems like Kamino might have hurt himself completely. Now, you could have said referee could have stopped this if he had to, but it did not. He decided to continue until finally he put him in a figure four leg lock. But however, T-Hawk had him in a way to put in a try to bend the knee a little more to apply more pressure to force Kamino to pick up the tap out, and it was over right from there. But however, during a post-match promo, I don't know what he said to Kamino, but all of a sudden we saw the arrival of Shima. Now I don't know what was going on, but apparently he said he had a little surprise. He called out Kazuma Sakamoto, telling him that they're gonna celebrate his 20-year anniversary on December 24th, which ironically is my birthday as well. It's no joke, people. I was born on Christmas Eve. So, of course, when Sakamoto saw this, he looks like he was about to tear up, but it was great. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do for his anniversary show. But I think that's pretty much it right now with GLEAT. So let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. It opened up with Hook and Orange Cassidy taking on the BCC, Wheeler Yuta and Brian and John Moxley. Now, I love how the story is now been going forward. Now, keep in mind the one thing that Orange Cassidy has it is the loss that he had against Moxley when he was still the international champion. So he felt that beating him is his purpose to feel complete. However, the last time when, of course, when Orange Cassidy was in the face of Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta tried to help, but Hook was there to give him the helping hand. So basically, you can see there's a feud between Yuta and Hook. But however, Hook and Orange Cassidy tried to play their game, but apparently that was not effective enough. But in the end of this, it was, of course, um, Wheeler Yuta who picked up a huge win against Hook by applying the seatbelt, and it was over. However, this does implicate that there is the possibility that Wheeler Yuta can challenge for the FTW title, which of course Hook is not willing to let go no matter what or challenger gets in his way. However, Moxley feels that he already is in the head of Orange Cassidy, so we'll see what happens in Full Gear. Now, we do see a little face to face confrontation between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. Now, however, Tony Schiavone did tell them that if either end put a hand on each other, then there's going to be some problems. So you probably can guess what that is. But what really was interesting, of course, we have seen Swerve Strickland cross the line by breaking into the home of Hangman Page and all this. However, Hangman did not hold back and told him that you're surrounded by people who are nothing more than yes people. You don't have your ex-fiance who left you or your kids who won't talk to you. So basically he had a nerve to go that direction. However, he even called Nana that he is nothing more than a guy who's using him, and then he goes out buying weed for some kid, and of course he tells him once he beats Swerve he'll beat Nana and steal his weed. And I thought that was classic. But man, he really gave out a pretty good promo. Even Swerve couldn't say a thing. He was like quiet. However, once Hangman was finished, he did something that I don't think anybody expected. He reminded him that he was not even allowed to put his hands on Swerve. So he looked at Nana and told him, Nana, no one didn't say any shit about us. And he, of course, Nana goes, oh, shit. He realized that it's true. No one said anything that Hangman was not allowed to put his hands on Nana. Swerve was about to put his hands on Hangman, but he realized that he can get in trouble. So security actually tried to help, but of course, like any other type, they got their asses handed. But however, no one expected this from Hangman, but we are going to see what's going to happen at the Texas Death Match this coming Saturday at Full Gear. Now, our next match, this is a TBS Eliminator match. Now, you may remember recently we did see Juliet Hart that will be involved in a three-way match for the TBS title. However, one more open spot has been saying, and that is Sky Blue versus Red Velvet. I thought this match was pretty good. Of course, Sky Blue, we have seen how much she has grown over time, but however, it was this Code Blue that put her face. So now she will be in the same ring with Julia Hart and Chris Statlander. So we'll see where that plays out. Now, there was an interview with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. Now, as you know, the whole thing about the devil has been going out for a while. So Roderick Strong tried to plead with Adam Cole about everything, but of course Cole was not happy with Roderick Strong because he basically kidnapped him and prevented him from having his surgery. So basically, he kept ignoring him, as always. Now, we did see what happened with the business decision with Andre El Idolo and CJ. But the obvious question does tell, what does this mean for Miro? Well, we probably know he's not happy about it, but it appears that he is targeting Daniel Garcia. I don't know why. We know that Garcia faced Andrade recently, so this is going to be interesting to see. Now, RJ tried to introduce Mariah May to Tony Storm, but seemed things are not actually going well. But there was a moment that she kind of met her, but we'll see where that goes in that storyline. So, yes. Now, our next match, I have to say this is one of the most quickest match, but most funniest one. Samoa Joe versus John Cruz. Now, you're probably saying, what's so funny about this match? Simple. If you guys saw exactly what happened, there was a moment where John Cruz was getting on top of the turnbuckle, and Joe, he likes to walk away right in midair. John Cruz like, what the hell? Boom. So he had that like pause for a moment, like trying to say, what the hell? And then I thought that was the most classic thing I've ever seen. I mean, how often do you see a wrestler going in midair, jumping off the corner and going like, what the hell? I thought that was insane. But of course, like any other match, Joe won by chokehold, but he did put out a promo. Now, keep in mind, he is still offering his services to MJF, but however, if he does, he has to promise him a shot of the AEW World title. So that is something I know he does not want nothing to do with, but we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, we had an amazing tag match: Commander versus Commander and Penta El Cero Miedo taking on the Young Bucks. Now, the only thing that's different about this, normally Penta would team up with his brother Ray Phoenix, but as you know, he's out. I thought the match was pretty good. I thought this was a very interesting development. However, no one expected this from the Bucks. Nick low blow both Penta and Commander. I did not expected this from them, but of course they ended this with the BTE trigger onto Commander to pick up the win. However, during an interview in the back, of course, Kenny shows up, asking him, this is what really is going on. So basically, this whole thing with them about that they have their issues towards Jericho, because we know Kenny only teams up with Jericho only to help to take out the Don Callis family. So things are going to be escalated just a little bit. Now, our next match, we have, of course, the Ass Boys, Colton and Austin Gunn taking on Peter Avalon and Jacoby Witt. Well, Jacoby Watts, of course. Watts was the one who picked up the 10 something Yuma, whatever they call it, and of course it was it was a pretty good win. But however, of course, Colton and Austin are determined to say that they are the true rightful winners of the ROH Tag Team Champions. So they are confident enough that they will walk out, but we'll see what happens. However, we did see a little video about Wardlow, talking about MJF, that the reign of the devil will finally end. However, we did see a clip of the devil. We don't know what is going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if whoever this devil is attacks Wardlow. Now, our main event, we do have the Like a Dragon Gaiden Street Fight. Hobbs, Takeshita, Fletcher, and Brian Cage taking on Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Kota Ibushi, and Paul White. Man, this match was like a freaking no count, no false count anywhere. We did see Paul White takes Hobbs outside, but of course, Hobbs went back in the ring. But the one thing that was so crazy is how things were going nuts. I mean, we did see Hobbs getting taped up in the middle of the ring ropes by Jericho and Kenny, and then all of a sudden got whacked right there. But it was Kenny with the one-wing angel onto Brian Cage to pick up the win. So does this mean this is over between Kenny, Jericho, and the Don Callis family? Well, we'll just wait and see where that leads us from there. Now, finally, as you know, MJF he is in for a big fight of his life against Jay White, but he addressed that he apologized to the Acclaim that they were caught in the crossfire by whoever is wearing the devil mask. Now, however, there are those who claim that MJF is the prime suspect. One of them, of course, is Jay White, who believes, he tells him, MJF, don't play this BS. You are lying. You're lying to the people. You're not their scumbag. So he is claiming that he is better than him. But, of course, Jay White had a backup plan, so he ambushed uh, MJF. So basically, right now, MJF is all alone, so he has no backup whatsoever. But the question does remain, will he take Samoa Joe's offer? So even though if he does, we all know what that means. That means he has to give him another shot of the AEW World Title. So we'll see where that goes from there. So stay tuned for Friday when we have Rampage. I'm not sure about Collision, but we'll see where that leads us to. But for right now, let's move on with some news updates. Welcome to the news updates. So let's get started. Now, as you know, I've been announcing for the Mexican promotion KAOZ Lucha Libre for the 2024 roster. Now, a few more names have been announced. We have Mamba, who's been announced, and of course, you know these guys, Los de Tracaponeones, which is, of course, Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf's tag team. If you guys know this, these guys are multi-time tag champions with the Crash, Pro Wrestling Noah, and all that. So now they're added into the promotion, which is interesting to hear. So can't wait what other names will be mentioned. Now, Ladies Night Out will be happening on the 26th of this month. They just added a match to it, and that is Su Young versus Alley Catch. So I'm kind of curious about that match. Now, GCW has announced for the Come On Dude event that takes place on the 2nd of December, we have Effie taking on Hee Hee Santana Jackson. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Now, finally, for those who are Mei Suruga fans, if you guys are having a problem getting into her social media, more specific on Twitter/X, well, she's having some trouble, but she'll be posting some of her stuff on the Got to Move Twitter page for all of you to get to see on the English channel. So, if you guys have her, just letting you guys know. And I think that's pretty much it what we have. So, I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have Thursday Wrestling with MLW, Impact Wrestling, and Ring of Honor, so stay tuned for that. I haven't decided if I'm going to do another review before that, but we'll see how that rolls up. But first things first, I will be doing an Unagi Sayaka watch. This one, of course, now it becomes a very interesting thing that's been going on between her and Sarai, formerly known as Sarai in NXT. If you guys remember, I mentioned that Sarai had some harsh words towards Unagi Sayaka from an interview that she did with Tokyo Sports. I will be putting that right now on the Unagi Sayaka watch, so stay tuned for that. But for right now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.